All right, folks. I wanted you to be able to put a face with a name, so my first lecture will be in a different format than the ones that you'll see for the preceding 7 weeks of the class. In the future, I'll be using some PowerPoint-based lecture slides, so you won't actually see my face in future lectures. This is more of an introduction. My name is Mike Davis. I'm an attorney. I'm an assistant professor of criminal justice at Southeastern Oklahoma State University. And welcome to Intro to Criminal Justice. We have students in this class from all across the country, and in fact a couple of students from around the world. This is CJ 2533. It is a accelerated 7-week course, so please buckle in, prepare yourself for a decent amount of work product expected from you over the course of each of the 7 weeks that we are together in this course. Just a quick overview of what you can expect in this class. We go through, this is an intro course, right? So we go through every aspect of the criminal justice system, starting with where do our laws come from, the history of lawmaking. This includes, just for example, generalized knowledge in the field like crime statistics. A lot of people go into their criminal justice degree, they get a couple classes in, and then they realize, why don't I know just some of the basics, like how much crime is there in the United States? Seems like the kind of thing that should be discussed in these classes, right? And that's the way we've tried to structure our curriculum at Southeastern, is to make sure that we're not either unintentionally or accidentally omitting information that is critical to knowledge in the field, okay? And that's why we've reanalyzed and restructured our curriculum to focus on those things. You should know, as a criminal justice major, general trends in ethics, general trends in crime statistics, how those statistics are collected, who's responsible for their accuracy, those types of things. And just to sort of answer that question to a certain extent here, I have provided you some of the basic information in the supplementary materials for this week. If you go into the course folder, which are arranged in a weekly format, you'll see some information on crime trends in the United States that I have given to you. If you take a look at that, you'll learn that in general, crime is down, and that doesn't necessarily mean that it's down everywhere. In general, the places where there are higher concentrations of persons, urban areas, crime is slightly higher than in rural areas, but as a general historical trend, crime is down. And some of the open questions in the field, things that researchers in criminal justice need to answer, quite frankly, are what's the cause of that? And if we can identify the cause of that, how can we cause crime to further be reduced? If you were to take a different course in our curriculum, comparative criminal justice systems, you'll learn that crime is different across countries. So the American crime rate obviously is substantially different than the British crime rate as compared to the Russian crime rate. What can we learn based on that basic base level statistical information? What can we learn about our own criminal justice system, and in particular, what things would make it better? What would make it more efficient? If the goal is crime reduction and maybe even, to put on some rose-colored glasses, crime elimination in the future, what types of tactics, processes, laws, law enforcement mechanisms can be done to make that happen? All really ripe areas for research. Then, of course, we go into law enforcement. Law enforcement can take place, we just generally think of generic police officer law enforcement, right? A municipal cop. But we, of course, know that law enforcement takes place in one of any number of manners on the federal level, at the local level, on the state level. And one of the things we'll explore in this class is to delineate the difference in responsibilities for all of those different entities. What makes a municipal police officer's role substantially different than a highway patrolman or a state trooper? right? And then what makes their role different from a state-based investigator or detective. All of these roles intermingle, and of course there's cooperation. But I think one of the more important things to learn in an intro-level class like this is what delineates the differences between those roles and in what ways do they cooperate. Okay. The next thing that we talk about is adjudication. We tend to think of law enforcement as the primary category of most of the activity that takes place in the criminal justice system. But the adjudicative process is in many ways where the rubber meets the road, where a trial would take place, where the determination is made as to whether a crime even was committed at all. It is also in that section where we learn some basic level information about our lawmaking process, our adjudicative process, and the types of constitutional liberties that are protected in the nation's founding documents. Your right to a trial, a speedy trial, your right to a jury, and under what circumstances does that right apply. And so we will explore that. And then finally, the last area that we cover in this course is corrections, which is to say post-adjudication punishments and sanctions. What do we do with the person who commits a crime? What types of methods do we implement to reduce their recidivism or their intention or ability to commit a crime again? What motivations go into our criminal justice corrections system? Is it retribution-based? Is it punishment-based, in other words? Or is it for the purpose of restoring this person to some modicum of ethical and obviously legal conduct? Corrections obviously has many different forms and formats in the United States. We don't want to just talk about prisons, even though clearly prisons are the lion's share of our budgetary focus in the corrections system, as well as our research focus in the corrections system. Prison being defined as a location to which a convicted criminal is sent to remove them from society. Which is distinguished from a jail, which is merely typically a holding facility while adjudication is taking place or prior to an adjudication, which is also distinguished from probation or parole, which are methods of criminal justice and corrections actions where a person who is not in a prison or a jail is still subject to the control and restrictions of the government. There is also, in the field of corrections, a different direction to go that we research in this class as well, often referred to as alternative corrections, but the modern language is to use the phrase restorative justice. It is far more frequently implemented in other countries, but we do have elements of restorative justice that take place in the United States. You could point to the drug court system, which is an alternative and diversionary program so that individuals who might be addicts or might have a drug or alcohol problem can keep themselves out of prison, continue to take care of their family, continue to be embedded in the community, even as they jump through some hoops that are required by the government in order to bring their conduct back into line. Just one example of a restorative system in the United States. We will discuss restorative justice as well over the course of these next 7 weeks. The important takeaway from RJ is that the focus is more on this concept that people who commit crimes, whether they go to prison or not, they're usually going to be coming back into the community. They're going to be our neighbors. They're going to be in our schools. They're going to be in our workplaces, right? 95% of the people who are convicted of crimes in the United States, even some violent crimes, even sometimes homicide, 95% of all people convicted of criminal laws in the United States will once again be among us. So there is some, especially among some academic researchers in the field of corrections, there's some emphasis now on focusing on making sure that people have the skills, abilities, and the socialization to rejoin society in a productive manner, one that reduces their chances of recidivism, which is to say the repetition of criminal conduct, and one that increases their odds of succeeding in society, which is to say the ability to get jobs, the ability to build friendships, the ability to embed themselves in society in a way that is not as part of the criminal element. All right, I've noticed that several people have already completed the assignments in the course. 3 of you have done so, way ahead of schedule, so good job on that. Please introduce yourself in the discussion boards. This will be an opportunity to meet your classmates because you will be interacting in the discussion boards for the rest of the next 7 weeks. I really look forward to this course. It is my first time teaching it. I developed the curriculum. Every assignment that you see here, I didn't get from a textbook. I didn't get from some type of test bank. It is all custom designed by your professor in this course. So good luck, have fun, and hope that you find the discussion to be rather stimulating. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.